Hi textile buddies, I'm Daria, textile and surface pattern designer, educator, and watercolor painter. On this channel we talk all things textile pattern, color, and artwork. Art is everywhere, including gift shops at tourist locations, museums, busy downtown streets, and botanical gardens. Are you thinking of selling your art in the form of greeting cards, textiles, or art prints to gift shops? Today I'll share some tips and observations as someone who actually works at a gift shop part-time. I mentioned it in one of my previous videos about the reality of being a full-time artist. I'll save you some time now and say that after trying for 2.5 years to survive on my art income only, I had to find a part-time job to support me financially, because the realities are that art income streams are very unreliable. I'll leave a link to this video as well. You can watch it to hear some tips and my thoughts that could be helpful if you're considering becoming a full-time artist. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and watch it until the end, where I'll share what products are actually selling better, which is an invaluable insight. So as an artist, you have quite a few options on what and how to sell to different shops. You can sell to boutiques that offer a variety of merchandise, from flowers to girly gifts such as sleep masks, tumblers, notebooks, bookmarks, and whatnot. We have one in our town and my daughter is a really big fan because of their girly vibe. You can sell your artwork at museum, botanical garden, and national parks gift shops, where the theme would be all things nature related. It can also be bookshops or coffee shops, all those fun places that people come to for a certain atmosphere or vibe. You can also sell to big stores such as Aromatherapy, which is a little bit of a cult here in the United States. It's very popular. It seems a bit harder to do, but I read a story once about a small business owner who sold decorative pillows to them. The story goes something like that. It was her dream to sell her pillows at Aromatherapy, and after, reaching out via email and looking at their website, trying to find the right person to contact, she told her dad that she was having trouble, and he was like, "Why don't you just give them a call?" And she thought, call someone, 21st century, 2022 maybe it was, or 2020 or something. And she actually called customer service and asked them who would the right person be to speak to, who is the pillow buyer. And to her great surprise, they gave her the right person and they were very interested, and she ended up selling a collection of her pillows to Aromatherapy. Unfortunately, I don't remember her name or the brand name, but still it seems like a very uplifting story. Please note that in this video I'm talking about selling a ready-made product, not licensing your patterns, designs, or illustrations. So you are either making the product yourself or have found a manufacturer or a vendor who makes the product for you. Let me know if you would like a video about finding vendors for your products. Spoonflower is also a vendor who prints fabric and wallpaper and sews products for the customer and ships it to them. So you could actually sell products with your designs made on Spoonflower. In this case, no one really has to know that Spoonflower is your vendor, except for they actually put their logo on the labels. So if people do pay attention to the label, they will see it's not your branding but Spoonflower, which can be misleading, but at the same time it's an option. It's not the end of the world. I actually have some fabric napkins with my designs made by Spoonflower, and we can take a look and see that there is a Spoonflower logo here. So there is nothing here that says that, I made this pattern, which can be okay, right? But in this case, maybe not so okay, because you are advertising Spoonflower, right? In an ideal world, your vendor should be putting on your branding, or like very vague branding, something like made in, America, 100% cotton, right? This design is called Aromatherapy with texture and text. Very inventive, right? Whether you are starting to sell smaller quantities to gift shops or larger orders to bigger stores, you are entering the world of wholesale. Here are some things to keep in mind to start selling to retail stores. Your product and the store need to be a good match in terms of the vibe and audience, be it demographics or the amount of money customers are ready to spend at this shop. For example, if you sell decorative pillows with birds, they might be a good fit for a bird and wildlife themed gift shop, but it would also be good to align the price. For instance, I work at a botanical garden that is essentially a forest, and we sell these gorgeous watercolor artwork pillows, which are great quality and a great match with our place. They have pretty mushrooms and frogs on them, but the price is just a little too high for our customers. The pillows are about $80 to $100 each. One day a woman bought a pillow, and then about an hour later she returned it saying, "I'm sorry, but it's just too expensive and I can't afford it at the moment." It does not mean that you can't sell your products at a higher price point. It just has to be at the right place with the right clientele. There are places here in New England, for example, where I live, with what is called art colonies, where a lot of artists live and work, and in those towns and streets there are lots of art galleries and boutiques where art collectors and lovers come on a regular basis. So in one of those places, people are used to spending a higher check. That is probably a better fit for those pillows at this price point. Another example is, a couple years ago, my friend who has Polish roots decided to go to an art and craft fair in Pennsylvania as a participant. There is a lot of Polish-speaking population there, I learned from her. She was selling art prints from her relatives' artwork from Poland, and she also bought some watercolor artwork on Etsy from a Ukrainian artist, and she offered to showcase my products as well. So I believe it was either a 2 or 3 day event, and she had like a booth where she exhibited all those products. I was kind of, tagging along. She didn't promote my work much, but that's okay, totally understand. She had her own, goal to like sell her relatives' artwork, and she made printouts on cheap paper, using staples, which I personally wouldn't do because I have very high quality expectations, for my artwork, but that's okay. That's not the point. What I'm trying to say is my products are a little bit more expensive. For example, tea towels I sell for about $24, and I can't really go any lower. Otherwise, I would be making only a few dollars because they are made in Canada currently. I am thinking of actually making them myself, and that is one of the reasons. So my products were a little more expensive. What she was selling was very, very cheap. Everything was like under $10, and she sold out almost everything, and she only sold I think 3 or 4 of my towels, tea towels, and she sold one pillowcase, I believe, which actually her husband bought for her Russian-speaking friend. I was like so embarrassed, and it was a very humbling moment. But I'll include the pillow here. It's like a very culturally inspired design. It has a very specific Russian reference, and most educated people in Russia would immediately be able to tell like where this design stems from. So it was a joke, like it was a design that I had a lot of fun with. I enjoyed making it, but it was also, very extensive design work. I actually sold one more of those pillows later to another friend of hers. So this goes through like this cultural line of Slavic people. What I was going to say, the feedback she gave me, it was my first time participating in an event like that, and I wanted to see, if it's even worth it to do it. And at that time it was absolutely not worth to do it, because it was a really bad alignment in terms of the public that went to that event, and of the designs, and not designs, the products that I was offering. She told me herself that previously it was a very well respected art and craft fair where people would sell handcrafted products, but now things have changed. She said she was surprised herself that lots of people were actually selling some kind of trinkets they bought somewhere on like AliExpress, like little things under $1 and stuff like that. Of course, if you have, high-end textiles like this, excuse me, it doesn't align, right? So that was not the right place for my artwork. I'm grateful to my friend who gave me this opportunity to try it out, and I realized a lot of things at the time, which the most important is how important it is to be at the right venues, at the right places. And she told me that people loved my stuff. They were really excited when they saw my booth or the part of the booth with my products. They were like, "Oh my goodness, this is so beautiful." But then when they saw the price, they were like, "Oh, okay." But again, this shouldn't faze you as an artist. Trust me, now I see, being a cashier part-time, people come, from different backgrounds. People have all sorts of incomes. For some people, things are too expensive. There will be other customers who will come and not even look at the price. They will just buy it because they can afford it. So it shouldn't be the factor that horrifies you and prevents you from creating beautiful artwork and selling it to the right customers. Next, let's talk about which products can be sold in gift shops. I'll give you some ideas, but also it's a great idea to take a little field trip to some of your cool local spots, or next time you are at an airport souvenir shop, pay attention to what they are selling there. Some of the most popular products are greeting cards and postcards that can be single cards like this, and also boxed set of cards. I didn't bring one. I actually have a box of cards. It's usually like 6 cards or so. All sorts of stationery products such as wrapping paper, notebooks, notepads, bookmarks, journals and planners, calendars, wall and desk. Stickers are a big group. Magnets, especially for tourist destinations. Pins are apparently a thing. People put them on their backpacks, hats and whatnot. Textile goods such as fabric totes, tea towels or kitchen towels, fabric napkins, tablecloths, aprons. Some hard home goods such as drink tumblers, mugs, placemats, wooden trays. It can be any other kinds of goods that you come up with. You can explore websites such as Redbubble and Zazzle for product ideas. You don't necessarily need to order your products on those websites, as it might be too expensive to resell, but it's a possibility too. Now, what do you need to know and do before reaching out to the stores? You need to have clarity on products you want to offer. Have vendors to produce your products, or maybe you decide to sew something yourself. In this case, you should calculate how much time it realistically takes you to make the product, how much fabric you need, and so on. You need to be clear on pricing, which is a giant topic. You need to make sure you can do enough markup so you can actually make some money on wholesale while also keeping the price realistic, the retail price. Packaging needs to be sorted out, whether you'll have tags with your logo, plastic sleeves for cards, like this, and so on. Although I want to say the store I work for, we are more relaxed on packaging. Sometimes the product comes in boxes, for example, but we have to take it out of the boxes because they take up so much space. So I would say, while packaging is important, don't start with something super extensive and expensive. Start small and simple. Another thing to take into consideration is understanding of your product timelines and quantities. How many items are you able to produce yourself or get manufactured, and how many can a buyer want? For small gift shops, I'd say a sample order could include 10 greeting cards of 5 different designs, 10 notebooks, and 10 stickers with 3 different designs, something like this. I recently found a class on Skillshare on this topic that I really enjoyed. It's called Wholesale for Handmade Businesses, From Studio to Storefront, by Petals by Priya Watercolor. I'm not affiliated to Priya or to Fair, that I will be mentioning in a couple seconds. Priya shares her successful journey of selling watercolor stationery to boutiques using Fair, a platform for processing wholesale orders for artists and makers. I like the class. Like I said, I'm not affiliated. I think it's a great starting point if you are interested in this topic. And while you're on Skillshare, check out my class too. I promise I will be making more classes in the upcoming months. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your trust and for your reviews, for your kind words. Now, how to find buyers and how do they pick merchandise? I just mentioned Fair. I know it's a popular destination to buy merchandise for store owners. Our store actually orders there as well. It's easy for the store buyers, for the store owners to search for certain topics, to search for what they want, whether it's a flower theme or, animals, wildlife theme. While it's important to know that you actually have to pay to be on fair, I'll leave it to you to decide whether it's the right path for you at the moment, but I would say before signing up, figure out your product line first. Another option is an Etsy shop. So some store owners shop on Etsy, so if you already have an Etsy shop, it can be your advantage. There are also gift shows that store owners visit to look for new merchandise. Here's an example called Cape Cod and Islands Gift Show. I don't have any first-hand experience with them, I just found it online, but I do know that my boss goes to some gift shows, and since we have a lot of Maine-themed merchandise in the store, they are probably in Maine. People in America have infatuation with Maine for some reason, the state of Maine. And I've been there, it's beautiful, but it's still a little beyond my comprehension why Maine has this particular attention. Maybe because it's nicknamed vacation land, so it causes a lot of, nice memories. And I also think people here in Massachusetts usually have relatives in Maine, or they have like another house in Maine or something like that. Store managers can also go to local art and craft shows that can happen at art centers, farmers markets, churches, and whatnot. So if you have some in your area, you might want to consider participating for exposure and sales. I recently stumbled upon a website called Zapplication. It has a list of craft shows, but their search is not great and the list of events seems incomplete. For example, there are definitely shows in Massachusetts that I know of, but they are not on the list there. Another option for having your merchandise sold in stores is reaching out yourself. Emailing the store manager or the person who is responsible for buying merchandise with a pitch of your products. Just make sure you and their store are a good fit in terms of the vibe and product and the price point as well. You could also offer to show or even give them some free samples as advertising. Now, what is probably the most exciting part is my first-hand experience as a cashier at a gift shop. What sells and what doesn't. Of course, as always, I have to say that it is a subjective experience that depends on location, it's just one particular shop, and so on. Even in terms of hours, our shop is open 7 days a week from 10 to 5, mid-April through mid-October, and I'm there only 3 days. On the other days, I'm filming these videos and making classes for you guys and drawing patterns. So don't take this data as super precise analytics, okay? Just a case study. So my first revelation when I saw art merchandise at the store, when I started working there, was that in general those goods are not selling all day every day. It's sporadic sales throughout the day and week. We do sell drinks like water and seltzer and admission tickets non-stop, just for a comparison. People also buy a lot of snacks to take to the trail to walk. But for example, tea towels might not sell every single day, and we do have a lot of, steady foot traffic. We also represent a bunch of artists and makers at the store. We even have some merchandise licensed through the UK agent I had portfolio review with. I spoke about it in my video about art agents. It's a small world, believe it or not, the art of, art sales and licensing for commercial use. So in the store there are some ceramics, there are wood carved objects and so on, but I will pay the most attention to some things that I can potentially make and you guys can potentially make, such as fabric and paper goods. But I will mention other goods too if they are selling particularly well or poorly, because I know we have other makers, people who make jewelry, people who make ceramics and so on, or like leather goods. We actually don't really have a lot of leather goods, now that I just said it. From the realm of textiles, felt objects sell very well. Felt pencil toppers, finger puppets, little felt animals, because we do have a lot of kids visiting. Greeting cards sell quite well. Again, I would expect them to sell more often. But still, out of all the products that interest us, these sell quite regularly, both as singles and also boxed. I was also quite surprised to learn that people still send out postcards, which are these one-sided cards with a place for a stamp that you mail naked without an envelope. Let me see if I have any here. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say they are bestsellers, but there is definitely an interest in them. The postcards cost under $1, whereas a regular note card, something like this, usually costs anywhere between $3 and $5 with an envelope. Our top bestseller is not something we can do as artists, I think. It's not a textile or paper commodity, but I think it's a great example of why people buy things in the first place. So they are glass bugs, something like that. Tiny insects, and kids absolutely adore them. They're made of glass, they cost under $1, and I think people like them because they are a combination of a reasonable price and a good memory that you can bring from the place you visited, and they're also very compact. T-shirts also sell very well. They're probably one of the best sellers. But we do have a lot of fun and relevant wildlife and flora designs by Liberty Graphics, a company from Maine. I'm a big fan and I have a lot of their t-shirts. I picked up this new passion while I started working there. People seem to like practical gifts, something you can actually use. They also shop for others a lot. I often hear that people are shopping for Christmas in May or in June. When they find something perfect for someone in mind, they buy it and keep it until Christmas comes. Do you shop like this too? Speaking of Christmas, quite a few people asked about Christmas ornaments, and we do sell some. Apparently it's a thing here to buy one Christmas ornament each year to remind of the year's highlights. Now, it's unusual for me personally. I wasn't born in the United States, but I've heard about this tradition a couple times. People also really like buying something specific to the place. For example, a sticker or a magnet that has the name of the garden they visited. So you might want to offer to design some custom products for the store if you feel like it and you feel like it's in your wheelhouse. Stickers are a popular buy, especially among younger people. It's unusual for me. I'm not really a sticker person, but people like putting them on their cars, laptops, water bottles, and so on. So vinyl stickers of round, oval, and rectangular shapes are a good product to look into. Kitchen towels are a more or less popular product. Again, I expected them to sell a bit more often, but we do get a few sales a week. Fabric napkins and placemats do quite well. The placemats are solid though, without patterns. When I speak about fabric napkins, I mean something like this. These are not from the place I work, but I absolutely adore Indian block printed textiles. They are so gorgeous. You sometimes might see them pinned over here, for inspiration. I think they're absolutely yummy because they are hand printed. They are printed on, unbleached cotton, and they have these gorgeous imperfections. I really, really like those. And I also showed you my napkins as well, with my designs. To the goods that sell less often, I'd also add mugs, scarves, which are some surprising facts for me, and pillows. I mentioned that. I also haven't sold a single apron or cosmetic bag personally. Maybe my co-workers did, even though we have some really cute ones. I think they're a little overpriced in our shop, but they are great quality. Wooden trays seem to be selling a bit here and there. We also have melamine plates and trays. They don't sell very often. Melamine is a kind of hard plastic. I'll show you. So this is a set of melamine plates that I painted this artwork for TJ Maxx, TJX companies while I was still working there. And it was made into a set of plates, and after that they made like about a dozen of other products, napkins, canvas bags, a greeting card. So no, they own this artwork. I painted it for them, but because I was an employee, I don't own this artwork anymore, and I'm only showing it to you for education purposes. It was branded with one of the brands they worked with. So this is melamine. This is a plate. This is popular picnic tableware here in the United States. I don't know about other countries. Drop a note, because I only got familiar with it here. Melamine is not very eco-conscious, unfortunately. I remember when I was working in hard home department, some of the designers were like, I really feel bad we make this, because they can't be recycled. They can be microwaved, but they are sturdy, durable, pretty, plates for a specific purpose. Like you can have a watermelon outside in the summer. It's like good summer, tableware. Let me know if you see this somewhere, in the world, because TJ Maxx has networks of shops all over the world. If you spot this artwork, let me know. I'm really, really curious. Sometimes I go to a store and the last thing I saw, the latest thing, was just this single dragonfly on a napkin. I don't know why I was like giggling. I was like, this is so funny. Like I quit the job 3 years ago by now, but they are still using the artwork, and I honestly think it's great. I love it because it means that I created some relevant artwork. It means that it's selling. That's why they keep using it, and I take it as a compliment. If by any wild chance anybody is watching from TJ Maxx, hi guys. An interesting revelation to me was that art prints don't sell at all. We also don't sell original artwork, which makes sense because we're not a gallery, but the art prints we have in the store are absolutely abandoned somewhere on a low shelf. We don't have a good selection. We don't have many of them. I know they've been in the shop for quite a while, so that is not a popular product, unfortunately. And we have some photographs, art prints, and we have some paintings as well. But I know that in other venues, art prints are a very popular commodity. But I personally do not sell a lot of art prints as well, which came as a little bit of a shock to me because I know some artists who are known for selling only art prints and art classes, and that's all, and original artwork and commissions. So go figure, right? We sell jewelry as well. We get about a couple sales a month. Maybe you're a jewelry designer and you're curious. So our store doesn't do very well in selling jewelry. I've heard some feedback, here and there, that it's not very contemporary. I can agree with that, but I actually think it looks classic. It's, some leather and silver jewelry. I personally kind of like it though. But again, it's quite expensive, probably one of the reasons why it's not selling. But when something is too expensive, it does not necessarily mean that you need to mark it down, to sell it out. The store manager takes this decision, or if you are selling your merchandise yourself, you make this decision. But once again, all that I described is just a single person's impression of a single little shop. Please don't take it as a worldwide standard, okay? Now, I also wanted to share what I like buying personally at gift shops and cool boutiques. I love fabric or canvas totes that you can carry around, like to go to the library or do a little shopping. I like a specific kind. There are different kinds. I recently bought a cute one from World Market that had an interesting bottom and sides, and it looked cute when it was flat, but when you actually put something in there, it's a little saggy, and I don't think you need this bottom, and the fabric was very thin too. I recently also got into buying thematic t-shirts with the names of the places I visited. Are there any graphic designers among us? Drop a comment if t-shirts are your jam. I also have been thinking about designing some t-shirts. I have designed some, for my own brand, and also my husband is a car enthusiast, so he always pressures me to give him a custom t-shirt for every single holiday. So I have designed some custom t-shirts for him, especially for his famous half-car trailer that I mentioned, I think, in my video about scanner personality, I believe. So he basically chopped a car in half and made a trailer out of it, and it looks exactly like the car that is in front of it. So it's very cool, very unique, very recognizable. It was not his idea, someone did it before, but he was the first one to do it for a BMW. So he was actually published in an online magazine, and whenever we drive somewhere, people are going bonkers, men are going crazy, children are watching, women are like, what is it? So I made a t-shirt for him, and recently we went to Canada, to Mont Tremblant, there's a circuit there where you can race. So he wore his t-shirt to represent, his half-car trailer. I also like buying zipper bags for cosmetics or pencils. I can also buy a cute note card. Even if I don't plan to send it to somebody, I just keep them, in this box for inspiration purposes. I buy textiles as well, for inspiration purposes. I think once you work in product development for a little bit, you become a hoarder. I already was one before that. But then, designers often buy things to inspire them, literally or metaphorically. So when I mean metaphorically, it's like I place it here and it just hangs there and kind of gives me the vibe. But sometimes you actually look at this and like, okay, I'm going to make something very similar, like in this color palette, for example. Let me know if you'd like a video about inspiration sources for designers, and or like the product development process for textiles and other products. I also worked in greeting card design, not for a very long time. It was about a year. It was in the middle of the COVID craziness, you know, when we were working from home. It was a new category for us. TJX started offering greeting cards, and I was one of the guinea pigs that worked on them. So if you would like to hear my experience on working with paper, and there are all these, see, all these little things, the sculptured things, the stickered on things have their specific names and, you know, terms. I could share that with you. So what about you? Do you buy from gift shops, or do you want to sell your products there? How has your experience been so far? Or are you just interested in going this route potentially? Share any helpful tips for the artist community, or maybe your gift shop observations in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and share this video with your art buddies. And remember, artwork is everywhere. Lots of people... Какую-то шумоизоляцию придумать, я не знаю, это какой-то кошмар. Или нужно в 6 утра снимать. I don't know why when I start making a video there's like some construction work going on and some kind of, what is that called, like sewing and chopping wood and whatnot. I hate it. I live in a busy street of a small town.